Hello everyone. So in our previous video, we saw up to this page of Leninger where it has been mentioned that cellular dimension are limited by diffusion, according to which we saw that the cells like plant cells, animal cells, and other microbial cells are able to diffuse the various materials out inside and out of the cell due to their capacity, due to their size limit. So uh, mm, so it is said that cellular dimensions are limited by diffusion here, and the size of the various cells like plant cells and animal cells, it has been mentioned for 5 to 100 micrometer in diameter, and for bacterial cells it has been mentioned about 10 to about 300 nanometer in diameter. So etc, here up to this it has been mentioned. So I'll move to the next page of the ninja where it has been shown in this very diagram. As you can see, the phylogeny of the three domains of life. So basically, when the life came into existence, the living organisms were divided into these three categories: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya, on the basis of their nucleon. So, under eukarya, animals and plants come, and other multicellular organisms come, and archaea are the primitive bacteria, and bacteria are already there. They're unicellular, microscopic organisms. So, in bacteria, many other bacteria like gram positive bacteria, green sulfur bacteria, cyanobacteria, etc. come. In archaea, which are primitive bacteria, halophiles, and those bacteria which live in extreme conditions, they come. And in eukarya, other plants and living organisms like fungi and ciliates, flagellates, microsporidia, diplomats, entamoeba, etc. come. Now we will see that how these organisms are classified: archaea, bacteria, eukarya, etc. On which basis? So bacteria and archaea, when we see bacteria are classified on the basis of their living habitats. So basically, bacteria live in the decaying in the other living organisms or decaying organisms, or inhabit soils, surface waters, and the tissues of other living organisms, whereas archaea live under extreme environments like salt lakes, hot springs, highly acidic bogs, and ocean depths, etc. So we can see that on the next page it has been mentioned that this bacteria or other archaea, they are further divided into on the basis of their intake of oxygen, presence or absence of oxygen. So they are divided into aerobic habitats or anaerobic habitats. So in aerobic, those bacteria which live in aerobic habitats, so they are able to derive the energy from the oxygen itself, but which are live in anaerobic. So since the oxygen is not present there, so those microorganisms are able to derive energy by transferring electrons to the minerals like nitrate, sulfate, CO2, etc. There present. So under those anaerobic conditions also, some are facultative anaerobes and some are obligate anaerobes. So obligate anaerobes are the organisms which have evolved in anaerobic environments, and they die when exposed to oxygen. So I repeat, in the obligate anaerobes die when exposed to oxygen, but the facultative anaerobes are able to live with or without oxygen, as the name says, facultative. And obligate means they die when exposed to oxygen. Now on the basis of the types of their intake, like the type of the energy from which they derive their energy source, these organisms are divided into, these bacteria are divided into, microorganisms are divided into phototrophs, chemotrophs, lithotrophs, organotrophs. So phototrophs, it has been mentioned that, as the name suggests, trophs means nourishment, and photo stands for light. So they derive when they derive their energy from light, they are known as phototrophs. And when they derive their energy from some chemical fuel, then they are known as chemotrophs. And when they derive their energy from the inorganic fuels, then they are said as lithotrophs. And when they derive their energy from many organic compounds in their surroundings, then they are termed as organotrophs. So organotrophs are further divided into autotrophs and heterotrophs. Auto means self, and hetero means they take the help of other organisms to build their food, source of food. So here in this very figure we can see the same thing. The classification of organisms on the basis of their source of energy has been explained. So here it has been explained that all organisms has been uh, further divided into phototrophs and chemotrophs, and phototrophs further divided into autotrophs and heterotrophs, chemotrophs into lithotrophs, organotrophs, and the examples have been mentioned here. So under autotrophs, the bacteria like cyanobacteria, heterotrophs, purple bacteria and green bacteria come, and this other heterotrophs are sulfur bacteria. And so most bacteria are non-phototropic eukaryotes. Okay. Now, what do in the on the next page, the further topic which has been mentioned in blue on in headline as a headline is E. coli. Escherichia coli is the most studied bacterium, E. coli. So what is the basic size of this E. coli? It is about 2 micrometer long, and it is less than 1 micrometer in diameter. So 2 micrometer is length and less than 1 micrometer is diameter. Now this E. coli is surrounded by plasma membrane, and this plasma membrane is constitutes of cell envelope. So this cell envelope consists of a thin bilayer of lipid molecules, which are also penetrated by proteins. So the bacteria known as archaea membranes are also have a similar architecture. So on the basis of the type of their membranes, these bacteria are divided into different categories. So when these we will see, it has been mentioned different cell organelles of the bacteria. So we can see here that ribosomes, which are present inside the cytoplasm of this bacterial inside the bacterial membrane, as we can see, and they serve the function of protein synthesis as also in multicellular organisms. And here nucleoid is in the form of a long circular DNA molecule instead of a circular consisting of a circular molecule. It is in the form of a circular DNA molecule, single circular DNA molecule. So it is called nucleoid. And these are pili are basically the points of adhesion of surface of other cells. Here they are these through pili they are able to, these bacteria or archaea are able to adhere, means they are able to connect, to join to the surface of the other molecules. And these are the flagella, the downwards, these pili are flagella. So they propel cell through its surroundings. So they are able to propel the cell through its surroundings. The cell is able to move, the archaeal cell is able to move through this flagella. And this cell envelope, as we can see, that this cell envelope's outer membrane, there are three membranes basically in archaea. So on the basis of the this membrane of the cell, there are three membranes: outer membrane, inner membrane, and the middle layer is known as peptidoglycan. So if there is peptidoglycan layer present between the outer membrane and the inner membrane, then it is gram negative bacteria. But if there is no outer membrane and peptidoglycan is the outer layer and inner membrane is there, then it is gram positive bacteria. So in gram-negative bacteria, outer membrane, inner membrane are there, and there is peptidoglycan layer present in between. This is known as gram-negative bacteria. In gram-positive bacteria, peptidoglycan layer is the outermost layer, whereas the inner membrane is there. So that is gram-positive bacteria. Okay, so in the next figure, it has been mentioned about cyanobacteria and archaea. So cyanobacteria are basically, they are gram negative bacteria only, and they are tougher, they have tougher peptidoglycan layer, and this also, they also contain extensive internal membrane system with photosynthetic pigments. So photosynthetic pigments are also present in cyanobacteria, that's why their name are cyanobacteria, due to the presence of photosynthetic pigments. Whereas archaea have no outer membrane, and the pseudopeptidoglycan layer is present outside plasma membrane. So outer membrane is not there, but they have a pseudopeptidoglycan membrane around the plasma layer, plasma membrane. So here, there the whole structure of the various organelles, cellular organelles inside the E. coli have been described in a particular bacteria. So we will just name them one by one. So you can see that here the ribosomes are, which are the protein synthesizing machines, are present here, and this small circles are peroxisomes, and they oxidize fatty acids. And these are lysosomes are they are able to degrade the intracellular debris, whatever. So that's why they are also known as the suicidal machines. Then this transport vesicle is there. So transport vesicle is able to shuttle the lipids and the proteins between endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, and plasma membrane. Then Golgi apparatus is there. It acts as the for the processing, package, and target protein to other organelles for export. So it acts as the medium for export. Then SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, is present over the Golgi apparatus. Nucleolus is present is the site of ribosomal RNA synthesis. RER is present over the endoplasmic reticulum. Then there is a presence of plasma membrane. So as we can see that plasma membrane is also present. It separates the cell from the cellular environment and regulates the movement of the material into and out of the cell, as we discussed earlier in our previous video. And there is mitochondria, which oxidizes fuels to produce ATP. So mitochondria is very important. And in plant cells, this was animal cells, and this is the plant cell. In plant cell, chloroplast is present. Chloroplast is used to harvest sunlight, and it produces ATP and carbohydrates. And starch granules are they are also present. They temporarily store carbohydrates. Then there are thylakoids. Thylakoids are site of light driven ATP synthesis. And there is the presence of cell wall. Cell wall provides shape and rigidity. Then is vacuole. Vacuole is the is able to degrade and recycle macromolecules, stores metabolites. Then is plasmodesmata, which provide path between two plant cells. Plasmodesmata, we can see it provides path between two plant cells. Then is glycoxysomes. These are glycoxysomes, that those contain enzymes of the glycoxylate cycle. And there is cell wall. Cell wall is of adjacent cell. Cell wall of adjacent cell is present here. So all cell are contain cell wall are are adjacent. Due to the cell wall, the various plant cells are adjacent to each other. So up to this, we can discuss in this video, and in the next video I will discuss from the next page. So thank you very much for watching the video.